All right, happy Memorial Day. Wanted to make a video just going over recent plays, recent patterns, just so you can get better prepared. I always review patterns. I always review my trades. I always review student trades. Most people who are in this industry, they don't review recent action enough. They don't study the past enough, but they also don't review enough. And the cool thing is, no matter what strategy you use, no matter what you believe, the market is offering education every single day. So even if you are just starting, even if you're not trading, even if you know nothing, every single trading day, the market is offering lessons. If you're receptive to learning, many people aren't. Many people just see, random stocks. They just want to profit. They don't want to go into the process. They don't want to learn other strategies. They don't want to listen to the market. No different than like a bad student in school, right? The teacher's trying the hardest to teach the kid, and the kid's just not, for whatever reason, open to learning. That's what is the problem with this industry. 90% of traders lose. I am always trying to counter the losers, the degenerates, the addicts, the undisciplined traders, the gamblers, the hodlers. There's a whole list of what not to do. You can do what not to do on your own time. For me, I'm trying to teach you what to do. Not that I'm always right, not that I'm always perfect, not that I'm the best trader, but I have a process, I have discipline, I have good risk management. If you ever question what is, Tim Sykes going to do on a trade, I'm going to take the safest approach because as a teacher, I don't have the luxury of being, too aggressive because I don't want to set a bad example for you. Even if I could personally make more money doing so, you might not know this, but I donate 100% of my trading profits to charity. The reason why I say it is not to virtue signal, but because charity for me makes it more meaningful. Every trade I do helps somebody in need. And then also, you should know that it doesn't matter how much I make in trading. It doesn't personally benefit me. What my business is teaching people, creating millionaires from scratch. And I'm really proud of Juan C. Pena. He was in my challenge for several years now, and he just crossed $1 million. And for those of you who need a little inspo, he started with just $2,000, okay? In 2019 really was when he, started to take it seriously. He did not take his education seriously in the beginning. He joined the challenge, I think, in 2017. But before the challenge and even his first few years, he did not study enough. And I get this quite a bit. So, congratulate JCP. I'll post a link to this. I'm also talking to him, and we'll have a video soon just so you can see more about his journey. But he's not alone. Another one of my students, Michael, very, very, high potential, but he didn't take it seriously. And he said, sporadically trading in 2017, found zero success, was not taking it seriously. Now he's up 300 grand since 2021. These are all just tweets in the past 2 days, by the way. I'm not cherry picking tweets. I have so many students who are really finally getting it because of this hot market. Maybe because, my teachings are finally like sinking in. The way that I teach might be a little counterintuitive, but I promise you, trust me, I'm trying to help you guys. Another one of my students now up over $100,000. And it's not just the 6-7 figure students. Congratulate 2 upcoming students, Dip and Rip and Hertz. These guys are in the challenge chat every single day. They're very active. Dip and Rip, 18,000 on the week, 19,000 last week. Hertz, 875 this week, 157 today. Should be over 50K in profits. So whether you get inspired by my new millionaire students, the 6-figure students, the 5-figure students, it's all about studying the past and learning from the market every single day. And I'm going to post this link, with my challenge. Any single one of you can join. Those of you in the challenge, you have specific instructions. You have the trading curriculum. You're getting live webinars. Shout out to Jack Kellogg, who's not just one of my 8-figure students, but now he's giving weekly webinars. And his last webinar, he pulled over like on the side of the road. It was pretty funny. But Jack Kellogg, amazing lessons from this last week's webinar. So if you are in the challenge, please review it. It's archived. He made over $500,000 in a few days. And then literally he got too cocky, too undisciplined, and he lost over $500,000. And that's really tough to make so much and lose so much in the same week. It really plays with your emotions. Don't cry for him. He's still over 12 million, but he's got to learn to lock in those gains. Maybe not even try to make 500,000. I think he's sized up a little too much. And I'm actually here in Europe with several of my millionaire students, all in the challenge, and we're talking about Jack and recent trading. And I get it, like to make those big amounts, right? Whether we're talking about Michael making 300,000 now in 3 years, or JCP making $1 million in 4 years, you have to size up. You have to kind of like, it's a little scary, right? You have to let the beast out of the cage, because you're not going to make that much if you don't size up. And for 99% of you watching, you shouldn't size up. You're not ready to size up yet. All of these people that I'm highlighting here have been in my challenge for several years. So they're at different points in their career of sizing up, but they've also put in a foundation of knowledge. You guys in the challenge, you have so many DVDs, video lessons, webinars. Study all of that stuff. I'm actually here with Mari too, my first female millionaire student. Famously did not trade at all her first year. She just studied all the DVDs, video lessons, and webinars. And even when she first started, basically year 2, when she started trading, she didn't really know what she was doing that much. But by year 3, year 4, everything started to sink in, and all the short-term sacrifice pays off. So I want you to have this perspective first. That's why I'm starting this video off before I go into my trades. I'm only up 130 grand roughly on the year, which for me, this is nearly double what I made last year. Like, I trade so small, so safe. I'm not always perfect, but in the past, 90 days, because the market is really ramped up, 84K, nearly $1,000 per day. And on Friday I made roughly, $1,000. So it's pretty cool what you can do, even trading safe. And I know that there's a saying like scared money doesn't make money. That's BS, at least with stock trading, because there's more than enough volatility. There's more than enough opportunity. You can trade scared and still make millions. You can trade scared and make trading not so scary. Okay? Leave that comment. Let's see who's paying attention. Leave that comment underneath saying, I will trade scared so that trading isn't scary. The reason why I bring up that 90% of traders lose, I'm not trying to make people feel bad. It's that you don't have to take these excessive risks. Jack and I had a long talk. We talked for nearly 2 hours the other day, and we just went over everything he did right, letting the beast out of the cage and sizing up and really nailing the volatility. But then it's tough to put the beast back in the cage. Once you make 500 grand in a week, you got to say, whoa, wait a minute. This is life-changing money. Let me not take such excessive risks. And I'm here with Kyle. He's another one of my millionaire students. And he made, I want to say $150,000 sizing up on GME, AMC. But because of FOMO, he didn't make as much as he wanted. I know that sounds crazy to people just starting, but understand these are guys who have already made millions. And then he got too aggressive on FFIE and lost 400 grand. So overall, he lost over $250,000. Same kinds of mistakes as Jack. Why do they make these mistakes? Because again, when you have a big account, you can size up and you can take bigger risks. 99% of you, maybe even 99.9% of you watching this, you should not size up. You should not take big risks. If even the biggest traders are losing right now with too much size, learn from their mistakes. Okay? Like I said, the market is always teaching you. I'm always teaching you. You can learn from my top students, from my upcoming students. There's so many lessons if you are receptive. So for me, the way that I'm making roughly $1,000 a day, it's laughable to people like Jack Kellogg, Kyle Williams, even Mari, my millionaire students. But it is great for you guys. There's two different groups in the stock market. You have millionaire traders. They've earned their right to take big risks, but at the same time, if they ever get too cocky, the market humbles them. And then the vast majority of you who would love to trade with a big account, but you're not prepared to trade with a big account. And frankly, you shouldn't trade with a big account when you're not prepared. It's kind of cool where if you're not prepared, you have to earn it. You shouldn't just be given a big account. All of my millionaire students have earned it, and they continue to earn it. Even though Jack, Kyle, lost big in the past few weeks, they're still up. I mean, Kyle's still up like 400 grand year to date. Jack is still up like $700,000 or $800,000 year to date. So what I want you to understand is that there's different levels to this game, and I don't want you to trade too risky. I don't want you to get too greedy to want those big gains early in your career. Because Jack, Kyle, Mari, I mean, even the new millionaire student, JCP, and upcoming millionaire students like Michael, they're making money, but it didn't happen in year 1 or year 2. They prioritized their education. I know some of you are tired of hearing this, but I have to repeat it. And it's good for you to hear it again and again. Some people will be like, oh, fast forward through Tim's like ranting. No, you need to listen to this because I'm trying to give you perspective. I have so much education from my own journey and now the journeys of my students. It can only help you, even if you know it, but it's good to repeat it. It's good to repeat the basics. So again, leave a comment underneath this video. And those of you who haven't seen this whole video yet, scroll down and see how many comments there are and see how few people can follow simple directions. The direction I gave a few minutes ago, and I'll give it again. Leave a comment, say trade scared so that trading isn't so scary. I'll bet you that there's less than a few dozen comments, even if you're watching this video lesson a year, 2 years from now, okay? It's crazy to me that you guys don't follow simple instructions, but that's the reality of trading. So have patience. And the good news is every single day there's opportunity. Friday's big squeezer was ONMD. And this was a beautiful squeeze. This was not the first day that it squeezed. This is what you need to look for right now. And this is why I like a hot market, because it's not just about buying the first big squeeze or the second or the third. This was the fourth big squeeze. And this fourth big squeeze was actually beautiful with this breakout here, 270 to the threes. It couldn't hold the breakout because frankly, it's up from 50 cents. It's still, even though it's down $1 a share off its highs, it's still a quadruple. But this is the kind of chart that you should be focusing on right now. Doesn't matter the industry, doesn't matter why, doesn't matter if it's a promotion, doesn't matter if it's an earnings winner, doesn't matter if it's a short squeeze. There's multiple opportunities to buy one of these spikes, okay? And every one of these spikes is a little different. This first spike, you can see here, is based on news, okay? They reported some good news, and that led to this whole run-up. And then you could debate the news, what is the value, whatever. It comes up here, triple top at 160-ish. I went over this, if you watch my last few video lessons, I went over this too. And look how beautiful technical analysis works, okay? The high here is 160-ish. It's already tripled, so that's a big move. But then right here, after hours, it breaks 160, and it holds 160 and goes to 170. And this doesn't look like much of a breakout, but guess what? It leads to this spike. This is after hours. Right now, there's opportunities pre-market, there's opportunities at the open, there's opportunities midday, and there's even opportunities after hours. You got to be willing to trade any time that there's opportunity, or at least be willing to look. And I know people are busy. They don't want to wake up early pre-market. They don't want to trade midday. They don't want to trade after hours. You want to have a life. I get it. It's up to you when you want to focus. But I'm just telling you that the market is there all the time right now. And it's a beautiful thing because, go back to 2023, especially 2022, we didn't have that many opportunities with different time frames. Now it's like fire at will, or more likely learn at will at all hours of the day. And this is a beautiful breakout after hours, support hold, and then it squeezes. And this squeeze is 6:54 p.m. So, be prepared to put in a little extra time. And if you don't want to put in a little extra time, that's fine too. But the market is going to give you these opportunities to learn and earn whether you're prepared or not. The only question is, how prepared will you be? This is why I do so many study checks. This is like the gist of my teachings. The market is offering up opportunity after opportunity. If you're not ready to trade, there are educational opportunities. If you are ready to trade, there are educational and profit opportunities. If you've been in my challenge for several years and you have a foundation of knowledge, there's an opportunity to learn, earn, and maybe even earn big because you've done all the, prerequisites. Many of you haven't done the prerequisites. You haven't put in the time. You haven't earned the right to trade big yet. And that's fine, but just understand where you are in your journey. You don't want to be starting your journey and be like, I want to be your next millionaire student. Let me go all in. That will lead to losses, guaranteed. If not on your first trade, but your second or your third trade. And it's not a question of if you're going to blow up, it's when. If you trade too aggressively when you don't have the foundation. And frankly, this is why I love teaching, because I have perspective, not just on trades, but on your whole journey. And there's, different ways to approach your education and your trades depending on where you are in your journey. Some people will say like, oh, why do you push the Millionaire Challenge so much? Because this is where I create all my millionaire students. This is the best journey, the most guided journey that I know of. And I always think like, start off with this video when I basically had, casts on both arms. I had Tommy John surgery. I was a tennis player. I got injured. I couldn't really play tennis that much anymore. It basically ruined all my dreams. But I took those dreams and I adapted. And then, my dad calls it the $1 million injury. But I never had any mentor in the beginning. I never had any teacher. So, you can learn about different hot stocks. Many people just want hot picks, but they don't have perspective of their journey. And it really holds them back. Even though I made over $7 million, I didn't have the proper perspective for a while. I've now been trading for 25 years, teaching for 15 years. And again, I can be wrong in any trade. I'm not the best trader. I'm not perfect, but I have perspective and I want more millionaire students. And this is why, frankly, I'm getting more and more millionaire students lately. But ONMD, knowing that, this one fit the bill as a breakout, holding the support, squeezing, and then looking at still, like, this is the thing. It's not an exact science. People will say, oh, you said support or former resistance was 167. It holds 167 here, but then it breaks 167. It goes to 150. It's not an exact science. It holds near the former highs enough, and that's what led to the squeeze on Friday. And if you're in my chat room, it's not just the trades, it's also the commentary. Before I even bought this, I said, watch for a potential squeeze. And then, 160, 170 is support right in here, right? 160, 170. But then you got to go a level up. The next resistance here is 260, and it double topped pretty nicely here. You get this one fake out to 280. But this is not a convincing breakout, okay? This is a weak breakout. And so then it comes down a little bit. But this is the best short squeeze, okay? Because right here, you have the attempted breakout from 160 to 270, but it's not a convincing breakout. That gets short sellers interested. And as I've been saying for the past few months, right now we're kind of lacking a promoter. We had, Zach Morris came back for a little bit, but then his pump sucked. Roaring Kitty came back for a little bit, but, then he disappeared. The best constant indicator for big spikers are short sellers. And this is part of the reason why I don't short sell anymore. If I was a short, I would have been shorting this failed breakout. And what would it have led to? It dropped from 270 to the 240s. But if you're not quick, all of a sudden it's in the threes. And every single person who shorted in here was bagged. And whether, maybe some big short sellers could keep averaging up and they can overcome their shorts. But for me, guess what? If I was a short seller, I would have cut losses because you don't know if it's going to stop here at 310 or 320. The market tells you, though. One of my commentaries when it was right in here was like, wait a minute, this is not looking as strong as it should look, given that it's, breaking out. And then in here in the threes, you have to have perspective. This thing was 50 cents a share. Okay, it's up 6 times in basically, 2 trading days, a day and a half of trading. That's a big percentage move. People lose perspective, not just of where they are as a trader in their journey, but where the stock is in its own journey. So for me, I only made roughly $1,000, but this was a beautiful $1,000. I said partial fill on this other short squeeze. There was other short squeezes going on. I said, let's see how high it can go. What a market, cut losses if no further spike. Okay, and this was right near the market open. I had already seen what it could do in here the previous day, and it was pretty much right in here. And I bought this initial spike, okay? I didn't even wait for this second spike. I thought that it could really go in here. And, I could have dipped on and tried again too. This was actually a better spike, the second spike. But you never know which spike is going to be the biggest. And for me, I said, you know what? Let me buy this because it's at the open is oftentimes the time where you can get the biggest spikes. And I thought that it was going to retest this high here at 266. I didn't know that it was going to fail in the 270s. I just thought that it could test the 260s. And if I'm in from the 230s, and I only got a partial position because it was just moving so fast. But if you think it can retest the former highs, let alone maybe not even break out, you can profit. And this was a quick 15%, and I locked it in. I didn't know that it was going to fail there either. I just specifically said my goal, I didn't say it in this alert because frankly it was so quick. But if you follow my alerts, my past 100 alerts, my goal is always to make 5, 10, 15%. 15% is on the aggressive side for me. I take those singles and I take them again and again and again, and I don't look back. I did not know that it was going to fail, but then I also didn't know that it was going to go to the threes too. So you can be quick and conservative like me. Like I said, I trade extra safely, or maybe even buy it here on the next breakout here at 270. Either way, there's like 30 cents a share to be made, whether you want to play the first breakout or the second one, right? From the open was like right here, actually in the 180s. I didn't even have a great entry, but I just knew that it had the volume and it had the upside potential. But, pretty much from my buy right around here in the 230s, and you can get out 270s, whether it breaks out or not. You can also see that it holds support. So you can either go for the initial spike, you can buy the dip, you can buy the breakout. There's actually 3 good trades right in here. No matter how you slice it, if you trade this anywhere near the market open, you're making basically 30, 40 cents a share. If you time it perfectly and you buy the dip here 230 and you sell it here 320, there's nearly $1 a share here. And this is, in case you wonder like how quick it is, let me turn it to 1-minute charts. Okay, this is literally the dip here ends at around 10:03 a.m. and the peak is 10:10. This is 7 minutes to make nearly $1 a share. That's probably the best trade. Or at the open, it's a little choppy in here. You're not sure if it's going to break this resistance here at 175. But like, let's say you buy this little intraday breakout here at 178, 180-ish. At 9:34 a.m., there's a volatility halt. And then this is 9:47. Okay? This is 9:33 to 9:47. So it's, 14 minutes, but it's also halted for 5 minutes. So it's basically like 8 minutes. So whether you take the 8-minute trade, whether you take the 7-minute trade, be prepared for it to be very fast. But this is a short squeeze play. It was going into a holiday weekend. If you know my Friday runner strategy, there's usually a big spiker early Friday because some traders like to just, buy something, make a few hundred or make a few $1,000s and then split early, leave early, especially on holiday weekends. So this is the perfect trade for many traders who just like to buy squeezes or spikes near the open, lock it in, be worry-free the rest of the day. And this is why there's the most volume, because this is where all the traders are interested. Short sellers will say, yeah, Tim, but it dropped, from 310 down to 210, so there's $1 a share. Good luck with that, okay? This time it faded, this time it cracked, and I'll say, as a short seller, I've made millions. Maybe 6 times, maybe even 7 times out of 10, you short this ridiculous Friday morning spike and you'll win on the fade. But it's those 2 times out of 10 or 3 times out of 10 that'll just keep going and you will blow up and you never know which one is which. That's the worst part. It's not based on fundamentals. The worst of the worst can also, spike. In fact, the worst of the worst usually spikes the most because it lures in the most short sellers. And you have dilution tracker and all the short sellers are like, fundamentally, this is not worth. Shut up. Just shut up. Okay? This is not moving based on fundamentals. This is moving based on momentum buyers and short sellers and a short squeeze. And then it starts to fade. And then maybe they do an offering or whatever and it fades even more. GME was a big play. Guess what? It's faded quite a bit because Roaring Kitty disappeared. And sadly, a lot of the hodlers are still hodling throughout this. They're like, yes, it's coming back. And then literally, they don't take profits. If there's one thing I can teach you guys is to cut losses quickly and to take your damn profits. Don't rely on some random person like sharing memes online, just to give you an idea of how far GME spiked. This is pretty crazy. Why am I not seeing this? Oh, I need daily chart. My bad. Let me just show you what this has done, okay? This thing basically went from, it was trading around here, 11, 15-ish. And then in 2 days, it goes from basically 15 to 64, okay? 4 times your money. And now it's dropped almost all the way back down. The sad thing is, I know how hodlers think. Many of them watched it go up. They didn't take profits. They're in denial. I always say denial is a long river in Egypt. And it comes down all the way. And now they're just saying stock trading sucks. The market sucks. Roaring kitty sucks. No, you suck. You suck for not taking the opportunity to sell. If you watch the movie Dumb Money, that was a nice version of how many morons there are who are hodling this stuff. And you can catch the hedge funds off guard for a little bit. You can catch big traders off guard for a little bit. But you in no way, shape, or form should just hodl and not lock in profits anywhere into this run-up. And the interesting thing is, the reason why I bring this up is because late Friday, they actually said they completed their ATM, their offering. Then they raised like $900 million. And that created a short squeeze late Friday, okay? Because, theoretically, they're done selling. But I'm sure they'll do another offering because they need money because they're a crappy business. But this move late Friday, congrats to some students I saw who were still in the chat room late Friday, and this thing spiked on the news. Stocks to Trade Breaking News alerted it, 19 to 24. And this was what? 4:08 p.m. and this is 4:20 p.m. roughly. So 12 minutes. So, in all of these spikes that I've gone over, and, I didn't even go over Lucy. It was just frankly too choppy. LIDR, I was going for a bigger squeeze. I wanted this kind of a squeeze, didn't get it. Not all plays are going to spike huge. There's going to be a lot of disappointments. I saw a lot of people getting disappointed on Lucy on this breakout. I gave a warning in here saying, the former breakout over 95 cents, theoretically at $1, it should start to go parabolic. The fact that it couldn't, it only got basically was like a 10% winner over the former highs. It's still up 300%. You got to have perspective. Some of you lost perspective. You're like, oh, this is going to be the play. It's going to go to 2 or 3 or 4. You can't just throw out these random numbers and expect all these stocks to go parabolic. This is already up 300% on the day. That's a lot, okay? Not all plays are going to have perfect breakouts or big breakouts, and especially Lucy. Lucy has done this. But aside from Lucy, GME's spike, this was 12 minutes. ONMD, the spikes that we went over, it was basically 8 minutes and 7 minutes. So if you're looking at my trades, they're going to be quick. If you see what I'm capitalizing on, it's quick. And guess what? If I'm wrong about any play, like AKAN, I was trying to dip by it and I thought that it could bounce and it couldn't, I just cut losses. Going back to what I said earlier, trade scared so that trading isn't scary. We're already trading very volatile stocks, but you don't have to trade them like a hodler. You don't have to trade them too aggressively. The way that I've now made nearly $8 million, this is no way, shape, or form best case scenario. This is a lot of lessons, a lot of safe trading, a lot of cowardly trading, and now my average position size is like $5,000 or $10,000. I really like trading small in order to teach. It's less stress. I donate, all the trading profits that I make these days. So, 130 grand that I've made so far, it's all going to get donated to build schools. Now we're doing computer labs. There's an anti-trafficking charity. We're also helping a lot of charities with animals. You can go follow Karmagawa. That's my charity. I'll link it below. That makes it more meaningful for me. But you basically choose what kind of experience you want. If you join my challenge, I guarantee you that I'll teach you everything I know. I can't guarantee you that you'll be my next millionaire student, but I guarantee you I'll teach you everything I know. And everything I've learned over 25 plus years, that can only speed up your education. And, again, congrats to my new millionaire, JCP. Upcoming millionaire, Michael, I have no doubt that if he stays dedicated, he'll be over $1 million. Lug crossing over $1 million. Even upcoming students like Dip and Rip, 18K a week. That's freaking awesome. Hertz, even if it's 875 in a week. And, other students too. I'm sorry I can't congratulate everybody. Some of you are just learning to take ONMD from the 1s to the 2s. These are all awesome trades. You're learning to lock in singles. But again, you don't have to trade aggressively. You don't have to trade every day. You don't have to let it take over your life. You certainly don't have to trade big like several of my millionaire students aggressively. And it's very emotional for them. I just want you to maximize this, because whether you're looking at ONMD or GME or Lucy or LIDR, there's so many plays where you can learn about different short squeezes, different entry levels, exit levels, different times of the day, and you just try to fine tune and you find what works for you. Okay? Everyone watching this is different. Some of you are long, some of you are short, some of you like holding for 5 minutes, some of you like holding for 5 days. But in a hot market, there's something for everybody. And I really encourage you to maximize every day. Try to get into my chat room every day. You challenge students, try to watch every single webinar. And if you haven't watched, I gave a webinar, Ellis gave a great webinar, and Jack Kellogg gave an especially great webinar last week. And we'll keep doing it. So that's what I got for you today. I hope that you learned. Again, leave a comment below. Say trade scared so that trading isn't so scary. It's okay to take small gains. You can be a multimillionaire and still trade with small positions. Don't listen to the, frankly, morons in this industry and a lot of fakes who think that you have to trade big all the time. You don't, okay? Safety first. Remember, 90% of traders lose. Remember that a lot of these screenshot heroes on Twitter and in these Discord chat rooms, they post one big trade every few days or every few weeks, and then they don't show any other trades. They're cherry picking their trades. My top students and I do not cherry pick our trades. I'm proud to show you every single trade that I do. Win or lose, good or bad. Sometimes I'm a moron, okay? Sometimes I'm going to have losses, but I do have a lot of small gains. If you look at my trading over 25 plus years now, and you see the stats on the left-hand side, I don't win every time, and my average gain is a lowly $1,500 per trade, okay? But my losses are smaller. My average loss, I think, is around $300 or $400 or $500. So if you think about it in terms of R, some people are like, oh, I want 3R or 5R, risk reward. My gains are roughly 3 times my losses. And if your gains are bigger than your losses, average-wise, and you win more often than you lose, that is how you grow your account. Not that I win 100% of the time, not that I'm betting huge, not that I'm making $10,000 or $50,000 per trade, because I'm not cherry picking. And it pisses me off how many fakes there are in this industry. And you guys see big trades, and you're like, I want that. And then if you ask the fakes about me, they'll be like, oh, Sykes trades like a coward. If you want small gains, go to him. If you want big gains, come to me. I'm not teaching fake trading. I'm not teaching cherry picking trading. I'm going to teach you how to make small gains and small losses. And then you size up later on. I'm basically a kindergarten teacher. I'm not, a postgraduate, postdoctorate teacher. I'm not that smart. I know what I know, and I know how good it is for beginner traders. So I'll give you the foundation. You can size up later on, like Kyle and Jack. They're experiencing big wins and big losses. They're off on their own track. I can give them some guidance. I can help, keep it in perspective for them, but I don't trade that big, so I have nothing to offer them. All I see is what not to do when you trade so big. And like I said, if the top millionaire students, the top traders who, Jack and Kyle both started with a few $1,000s. And JCP is just the latest to start with like $2,000 for my millionaire challenge. But all of them have earned the right to trade big, but then they're off on their own. I'm not their teacher anymore. They're doing their own thing. They're still trading the same patterns that I trade, but with size comes great risk. So all of you who want to trade big, recognize that it's very stressful and very risky, and even the best sometimes get burned. I was here with Lucas. He lost basically $750,000 on FFIE, but because he has such a big account, he made back $1.2 million. And overall, he finished up $500,000. And he would agree, terrible trading, even though he finished up $500,000 in a few days. Okay? You don't have to take those big risks, especially in the beginning. I just want you to learn to take singles. I'm so proud of students like Higgy Baby and Skipper and Sparky Trader and T-Bone and Lily Hath and Scott and Spencer and Big Burns, okay? They're making a few $100s or a few $1,000s, taking very sniper-like trades and using their small account to their advantage. Big accounts can't do these trades. They move too fast. But anybody with a small account can buy 100 shares, 500 shares, 1,000 shares and make a quick 100, 200, 500, or 1,000. It's not as exciting as everybody wants, but it is what you need to do in the beginning. You need to learn to grow your account a few $100s or a few $1,000s at a time, best case. And you need to learn to lock that in. And then once you have enough experience, once you really do this enough, your account grows. So maybe now you're learning to take $100, and then a year from now you're learning to take $1,000. But all of this is building a foundation of knowledge and experience so you can trade bigger later, if you want. I also have non-millionaire students where they're just happy to make a few $1,000s a month. You don't always have to go for the huge home runs. You don't have to go for the millions. I get it. It's called the Millionaire Challenge. Trust me, I know how useful it is. But at the same time, you don't have to go for that home run. A few extra $100 or a few extra $1,000 a month can really change your life, especially in a hot market where every single day there's opportunities. These are just a few of the trades. I mean, if you look on my left-hand side, look at this. We have so many plays up 100%, 50%, 60%, 70%. Like, this is a crazy amount of plays, and this is just on Friday. So I just want to give you a perspective, So many people just want to know about stocks or like, Tim, stop talking about all of this. I will never stop talking about all of this because other people don't talk about it. And I would rather you have too much information. I'd rather you be like, Tim, I've heard this before, than not hear it at all. I'll repeat myself. I'll go over the same students, the same trades, the same charts so that it sinks in because we all learn a little differently. But this is the time to really maximize it. I know we're heading into summer. You don't want to think about money. You want to enjoy the good weather. You want to take it easy. Not this summer, okay? Right now, we are locked and loaded. I don't know if you know about this. Let me just bring this up real quick. This is an article about Stanley Druckenmiller, who's one of the smartest traders, richest traders in the world, formerly worked with George Soros. And he sold his NVIDIA stake and he bought IWM. IWM is the small cap index. And so everyone's like, oh, why would you invest in the index? He's got a $4 billion fund, $500 million with NVIDIA. And he nailed it. I think he wrote it from like the 200s to like the 900s. Now he bought the IWM, which is, all small caps. And IWM hasn't really done well over the past few years. Small caps have actually been kind of weak. But as interest rates decrease, small caps will really benefit the most. Let me just show you the IWM over 4 years. Because it really hasn't grown like the rest of the market. We're still not at the highs of 2021. The rest of the market, new all-time highs. IWM, sure, we've rebounded off the lows, but we're not anywhere near the all-time highs. And when one of the smartest traders of all time thinks that, this is going to be better than NVIDIA, which has been the single best performing stock in the entire world, that's something to think about, and just seeing the action that we're seeing. I wouldn't necessarily invest in the IWM, like he's just investing in the whole index. I think that is better for you, especially if you have a small account, to trade, plays like this. Like, ONMD going up, these students are making, let me just do some math, 250 minus 162, and this is a student nailing ONMD on a Friday morning, divided by 1.62. I mean, this is roughly 50%, right? 54% in like less than an hour. Druckenmiller can't take this trade with a multi-billion-dollar fund, but you guys, this is the beauty of having a small account. You can make 50% on your money in a morning, whether you want to buy 100 shares or 500 shares or 1,000 shares. And this isn't best case scenario. None of these students even sold in the threes. Sparky Trader got in the twos and out in the threes. These students got in the ones and out in the twos. They sold too early in hindsight, but they locked in. Skipper, made what? 70 cents a share. So nearly 50%, my best trade since joining the challenge. Higgy baby, chest pounding here, okay? First squeeze play made 50%. So you can take a lot of trades that big traders can't take if you have a small account. You don't need to invest in the IWM. I would not invest in the small cap index, let alone any index, unless you have a ton of money. Small accounts can take these sniper-like trades and make 10, 20, 30, 40, 50%. 100% if you time it perfectly, but you're not going to time it perfectly, so I encourage you just to take singles. That's what this is all about. All of these students, JCP, learned a lot, took singles at first. Michael learned a lot, took singles at first. Luger learned a lot, took singles at first. You have other students like Dip and Rip and Hertz. If you're in the challenge chat, see what they're doing every day. Every day they come ready. And it's not like these numbers just come out of one trade. And it's not like they win like this all the time. It's a process, okay? All of these students, I'm so proud of you, but don't get cocky either. Just because you make 50% on one trade doesn't mean you're going to make 50% on every trade. But the more 50%, or maybe sometimes you sell too early, maybe you enter too late, and you only, quote, only make 15%. This was a really good trade for me, where I made, nearly $1,000, and I made 15%. Some people say, well, Tim, your students are making 50%. Why are you only making 15%? I was frankly late. I was trading other plays. I was on the wrong play. But I recovered and I got to the right play. And I still sold too early. You see, this is not a perfect entry. My students are buying into the ones. So my entry is late. My exit was on the failed breakout in the 270s. 15 minutes later, it went up to the threes. So I'm late on my entry. I'm early on my exit. And I'm still locking in 15% and nearly $1,000. And I only got a partial fill. I wanted 5,000 shares. So, when you look at my trading, never think that this is best case scenario. Understand, I'm just trying to take the meat of the move. Oftentimes I mistime it. I'm not the best trader. But again, why I'm now doing a 40+ minute video lesson is I know what I'm talking about perspective wise. I know what I'm talking about guiding students to take the meat of the move. And the strategy that I teach is the most replicable, okay? If you try to trade too big, it's not necessarily replicable. And it's also very dangerous. Many short sellers make more money than me. And they're like, Tim, why don't you teach short selling anymore? Because I don't think that it's good for newbies. No matter how much upside there is, no matter how much money they make on the way up, you're always 1 or 2 trades away from blowing up. Okay, if my millionaire students can't time their shorts well on these big plays, and they're arguably the best, most successful traders, and if they can't time it, what are the chances that you're going to time it well? Not very much. And you don't have to risk losing 30, 50, 100%, or even more. Remember, short selling, you can lose more than you put in. And I hear some horror stories every now and then where they lose their entire account or more. And then you owe money to your broker, okay? And it's not just forgiven, like, oh, you have a $50,000 account and you lose, let's say, $70,000 on a short. The $20,000 doesn't just disappear. The broker reports you to the credit bureaus. You're in debt, $20,000. You can lose more than you put in, and a lot of these squeezes are riskier and faster and more volatile than you ever imagined. ONMD basically failed in the threes. Okay, this one didn't go full supernova, but some of them do. Lucy put up a fight, didn't go full supernova, but it came up from 20 cents a share to over $1. It went up 5 times on the day. So as a newbie, trust me, go long. As a newbie, trust me, take small positions. As a newbie, trust me, utilize this hot market and learn a little something every day. This is the market that really speeds up your education. And you challenge students, watch all of the webinars. And if you're not in my challenge, get in the damn challenge. If you have any doubts about studying, if you're lazy, don't do it, because I don't get along with lazy people and I have no time for non-dedicated students. But if you're hardworking and you are dedicated and you're sure you want to really maximize the opportunity, then by all means get in the challenge and join our little small knit community. It's really a tight knit community. It's pretty beautiful. And I'm just so proud of so many people. Anyways, I'm going to stop talking. I got to go hang out with my students. They're all downstairs waiting for me. But congrats again to JCP on 1 million, Michael over 300K, Luger over 100K, and even other students who are just taking singles. So many of you. I'm so proud. I'm so fortunate. I'm so blessed. And I'm just pumped. This is the market. So change your summer plans because the market is hot and you got to capitalize. Leave a comment below if you understand and say trading scared makes trading not scary. That's what I'll leave you with today. Cheers. I'll see you in chat tomorrow.